Well, heidi-ho, upfront contract. This video is going to be different than really anything we do, whether it's sharing a location or whether it's doing one of our build videos. In fact, in my mind this moment, it's going to be a little more vlogish. So, you know, if that's not your jam, well, peace out. Bye, Felicia. We're fine with that. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. But if you're interested, we're actually headed back home. And this is why it's going to be a little vloggy. We started our adventure out west to visit some additional national parks out towards California. We had a lovely working week for me at the Natchez Trace State Park. We worked down there, had a really good time, but along the way, we started to have some trouble with our slide unit in Tumbleweed, our RV. It kind of came out of nowhere. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But anyway, it is somewhat severe. So we're worried about our slide consistently working in and out for this trip. So anyway, we made an abort. We are 7 hours from home. We're about halfway there now. We've just stopped off in Kentucky. We are ripping it home, and we've got to switch out, and we're going to load everything in back into Wilma, our Overland setup, and we're going to try to gather this trip back up. The thing is, we cannibalized a lot of things. Our Starlink, our electrical system, we cannibalized a lot of things to make improvements to Tumbleweed for this very trip. So we're hoping that if we get home very late tonight, that we can do one very vigorous shop day tomorrow and get ourselves back on the road what will be Sunday for us to start making our way back out. Anyway, the reason it's vloggy now is probably clear. What we thought was, let's share this little escapade, and yeah, there you go. So back on the road. Let's burn her home. Well, good morning. At least it's good morning for us. We made it back last night, very late, and we're getting ready for the shop day. But I thought what I'd circle back to is really what did prompt our return back home. And I spoke a little bit about the fact that we were having slide issues coming in and out. And I've got to tell you, if there was one fear that we had with the RVing in general, it was with the slides. Especially the model of camper that we had selected uses the Schwintek system. And I don't mean to talk trash, but if you look around the internet, they are. I mean, most people agree that the Schwintek slides, they work really well for some folks, but for many, there's constantly this concern, will it go in, will it go out? Now, if you recall from maybe another video, we had an accident on our very first voyage where we left one of our rear dresser drawers open and a slide caught it and caused a little bit of interior damage. But the slide continued to work perfectly. In fact, the slide worked not only on the trip home, but the slide was in and out multiple times while we were doing some of the upgrades to the build and getting ready for this trip. In fact, the first time we had a problem was I fell a little bit behind and I had a business trip that I needed to take, and there was some seal work that needed redone up around the bunkhouse. So we took it to a local RV shop to have them work on that seal. They did a fantastic job with that. When we brought it back home, we took it out just fine, or when it started to go out, the rear portion of the slide didn't want to move forward. Now, the previous owners told us that the Schwintek had been reliable for them, but every once in a while they did need to put it in manual mode or put it in a reset mode where you get to the controller and you push a button. Basically, it takes the Hall effect sensors that tells it its positions out of the loop and it just manually forces it out, provided the motors are working properly, which ours were. So we weren't too alarmed at this time, but we were now right up against leaving. And what we didn't anticipate is that this would really continue to fester. So every time then we were trying to put the slide out, we were having to put it in manual mode when it was getting out of sync, and at one time it actually got fairly cattywampus. So on our way to Natchez Trace State Park, we stopped at an RV facility to have them look at it. They had some time. They were able to help us out really on the spot just as we pulled up in. The tech that came out, honestly, I hate to talk trash, but he wasn't very receptive to information that we were providing to him. He just sort of forced it into a resync mode, trying to get it to learn in and out. At one time, we now had a problem with it coming in. He got it really far out of whack. And long story short, when we left them $200 later, I didn't know if he had actually done any good for us or not, but we were going to be optimistic. When we got to our campsite there at Natchez Trace State Park, sure enough, after spending that $200, it didn't go out. I had to immediately put it in manual mode, and it just had some new noises that gave me a little bit of alarm. And while we thoroughly enjoyed our week there, sitting outside with a campfire while we watched our latest TV show on the outside TV, the bed, we slept absolutely wonderful. Like everything about RV life once we were there, we thoroughly enjoyed, but our hearts sunk a bit as we got ready to leave and go to the next location. We went to pull the slide in. Same thing. It doesn't want to come in. It got out of whack. I put it in manual mode, and yet another new feature. Not only, while it did come in, the rear upper motor started to make some new chitty bang bangs, and that left us with me just concerned that it was deteriorating. So I had mentally prepared for the fact that I may need to put this thing in manual mode every time we go to put it in and out, but as long as it was moving smoothly, we would deal with the upgrade or the repair later. But then when it started making clicks and pops and some new things, then the last thing I wanted was to be across the country and suddenly have an issue where this dang thing wouldn't go in or wouldn't go out. I said dang, by the way. Wouldn't go in or wouldn't go out. So Alana was making some phone calls to find out if someone could provide us with a deeper level of service. And honestly, we just didn't find good success. We did speak to an absolutely wonderful RV tech, a remote goes around RV tech. I will give him a plug down here underneath me because he listened to us, and while he was only on the phone, he provided and helped us do the next level of troubleshooting, really to a point that we just became, while we knew what to do next, we became increasingly uncomfortable with it. So with us being in Arkansas, still pretty far from southern Ohio where we live, we also knew we weren't far enough, that over a weekend, hopefully we could sprint home and swap up away from the RV and then get Wilma here, the Overland setup, ready to go. So she's been here sort of waiting with the trickle charger, but as I mentioned already earlier in this video, we cannibalized a bunch of things. So I've got electrical work to do on her. There's a brake job that we've got to get done and a whole host of other things that we really need to get taken care of before we hit the road again. And then we'll update some of the ramifications that's going to make on our camping experience here soon. But for now, I've got to get the solar panels on top of this. I cannibalized the glass panels, put them on the RV, and I need to get the flexible panels mounted to the top of this because my hope is to use 3M adhesive, and that 3M adhesive requires 24 hours for the adhesive to really firmly set, and that's really the only thing I want to use. I don't want to shoot screws in the top. So pitter patter, I need to get at her. Okay, update. It's taken, like everything does, it's taken longer than I thought it would. I'll give you a close-up shot here, but the Jackery is now in the solar panels. Here's what they look like. They are now installed on the top of the roof. Really, all I used was that 3M emblem tape, and then, well, you can see over here how I did that. Basically, all the way around it, and then I put an extra strip on the wind side, the leading edge on the truck, as well as some down the middle. Honestly, they're super on there. I threw some wood pellet bags on top of it to make sure it stayed, and so far they seem to be holding really well. Time will tell if it's good enough. Now, as far as in the truck goes, I've also made quite a bit of progress. In fact, I'm nearly complete getting the Jackery installed over there in the corner, and that's going to really replace all of the electrical system that we had in here before. I still have the solar, the 200 watts on the roof instead of the 300 that we had before, and the flexible panels usually aren't quite as efficient as the glass panels, but overall I think it'll be just fine. In fact, the only real disadvantage we have with using the Jackery is capacity and a little bit of extra work where our old Victron system used to automatically switch over from all the different charging methods. We are going to have to manually move these M8 connectors here. So what we ultimately did was just indicate the different ones. The white is from solar, the red is from alternator charging from the truck, and then the black is if we have shore power, we have AC power, we've got a brick hidden here behind the wall so that we can also charge from that as well. So the functionality that we have with the old system is all still in place. Well, with the electrical system all done and the back put back together, before we pack, we've got a maintenance item that we really have to take care of. Last time we were out west and we were coming back through the mountains, our brakes really were not happy with the downhills. I always try to downshift, let the transmission and engine braking do its thing, but still, when you have to hit the brakes, they were getting hot. And along the way, they've gotten really very glazed. It's interesting. We are like 94,000 miles on the truck, just under 100,000 miles. There is still a gob of brake pad left, and really, other than getting glazed and just that heating situation, the brakes seem to be pretty good. But we're now headed through 2 mountain ranges again, and we know we need to pick up some time getting our way back out west towards California. So we had hoped to do a brake upgrade. In this case, we're just going to go back to basically a factory equivalent. We're going to pad slap it and replace the rotors. So we're just going to do a lube up the calipers and things like that. I think Alana and I are going to divide and conquer so that we can get this done a little more quickly. The evening's going to be upon us, but I think we will be able to transition to packing as soon as we get this done. That didn't take long. And I got to tell you, we're starting to feel like karma does not want us to take this trip. Brake jobs are usually a pretty easy thing. I'm hoping that this will turn a corner, but, you know, Mopar, Chrysler, FCA, PFCA, whatever you want to call them today, Ram, I don't know, whatever. They use these little Torx bit bolt keepers to keep the rotors up tight here to the hub, and usually not a big deal, even though we live in the Rust Belt. If you can get a little impact on it, you know, and it went that way for most of them. It came right out. And then we have this one that decided, piss on you and piss on your tool. I'm going to break it and I'm not coming out. So Alana is out trying to find us another T30 so we can get back at her. But I got to tell you the other thing too. It's not real easy to get in here with an impact. I don't know if many of you have Rams and have done your brakes, but what on earth? Someone is in love with the Loctite. It's blue, so it's not like it's the red stuff that needed heated up or anything. But I have not seen a bolt with blue. I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot. Rotor 1, dead blow. 0, like it 0. I don't actually think this had anything to do with this, although I was wailing on the rotor. This thing is as long as Alana's in my marriage. This was her first tool when we were still in college, or one of her first tools in her tool set when we were in college and she was in automotive. And we have done so many things with this that like I'm a little heartbroken because it's been around for so long. Anyway, it's probably not that big a deal, but ultimately, like I say, it wasn't the dead blow. Another YouTuber, I had to turn to the tube, and someone suggested using the top ear with a bolt, sort of like a jack screw, to push against this. So with lots of penetrating oil and stuff down here on the rotor, and then that trick, it ultimately worked. So that's 3 of the rotors off. Good news, right? Good news. But Alana's gone again, and that's because, well, this one here is being a stinker. It's being a real stinker. This T30 down here, for this one, we've now broken 3 sockets. And the bolt itself is starting to get wallered out. So Alana went to try to find like a hand impact driver bit. We have one of those rather than using our impact guns. Anyway, yeah, you can make fun of my sound effects. If it doesn't work soon, we're going to be turning to the extractors and drill bits, I think, to get this rotor off. Rust belt problems. This is the kind of stuff we deal with. These things get so seized on here. So I can do some whizzer wheel stuff to get this cleaned up. Still, fingers crossed that this will come back together. I don't know. But fun thing, while Alana's not here, I will show you. I'm going to come this way. The shop is a mess. Don't judge us. We have been doing a lot of stuff here. So we had to put the slide out so that we could get to some stuff inside. And you might be able to tell the top is out much further than the bottom. That's the thing. That's the motor that's doing the chitty chitty bang bang. It's not right. This is the very next out. So if we had tried to continue camping, we would have been up a creek without much of a paddle. We'd have had our hands going at, like, no, I don't know what we would have done here. So we did make the right call. We weren't ready to use the truck. Thankfully, we have the truck, so we're still rallying. We're still rallying to try to make this trip happen. Check off some additional national parks, but you might be able to tell from outside. It's starting to get dark. It's getting late here. In fact, it is. It's like, it's not that late, but I'm old. It's 7:30, and we still have a lot of work to do. We haven't done any of the packing, transfer, any of that kind of stuff. And to make it to where our next campsite was reserved anyway, it's a bit of a haul. And again, we're older. I don't like to do that much driving. Like, it's 17 hours, so it's at least 2 days really for us to get there safely. We've done the 20-hour straight before, and I'm just not looking. I'm not looking to do it again. But okay, guys. Like, we have already. By the time you're seeing this, this has already happened. But I need you to. I'm going to pretend that you're saying you're rallying for us. You know, you're really thinking about us, and soon we'll be on the road, or we'll be packing, or some kind of good news. Look, Alana's back.
Hi.
And look. The rotor's finally off. It wasn't Alana's tools. While I'm very thankful that she did bring some tools for us, that didn't actually do it. Ultimately, what did it was a round of left-handed drill bits, extractors, and ultimately diamond bits, where we just had to like grind out that bolt that was holding the rotor on. Then it was super on there, so you can actually still see the bolt up in the eye that I used to jack the thing off. That sounded perverted. It's late. It's late. It's dark outside, so my mind is allowed to go there. You'll have to forgive me. Anyway, it's off. We're fine. Alana's back. We're cruising now. It's going back together. Positive, positive. Wilma, back down on the ground, on all fours. All of the maintenance items, service items, everything that we needed to do to have a fully functioning overlanding rig is now complete.
Yes.
It's 11 p.m. and we only had about 5 hours of sleep last night before we got home. So what we have decided to do is, I'm a little grubby. You wore gloves, so she's better than I am. But we're gonna go in and shower, go to bed, get 5-6 hours sleep, wake up, and then pack and hit the road. Now, I think it's going to be most of it a little easier because everything's already organized for what we need for the trip. It's just in tumbleweed. The more challenging thing is there are different things that we pack. Like tumbleweed, I just fill the water and off we go, whereas I've got to get the water jug and our pump and some of the other things. So we are back to an outdoor shower. So anyway, overall, we're happy. We do need to go for a test drive in the morning to set the brakes and do everything, but we've got it out of maintenance mode. It's stopping here in the shop, so I could get the lugs torqued and everything. So anyway, hopefully on the road in the morning. I was wrong again. I did not give credit to how much different the pack is for the Overland setup. Like, you know, our shower, our toiletries, but even the way we pack things. So it was a total tear down, a total redo. It's now early afternoon again, and but we have set a hotel stop so that we can drive a little bit later tonight. We're pulling out of here. We're hitting the road. Well, we made it. We are just outside of Amarillo, Texas at Palo Duro Canyon. And if that sounds familiar to you, well, we've actually visited here once before. We were on the Winging It trip, or the Winging It tour. And actually, I think Wilma here was Camp Bedrock 1.0. I think we had the rooftop tent still. That was, and actually, I think that is one of the things that solidified it, was because of the wind that we had. And it's windy here again. As far as our trip, let me turn for the sun. As far as our trip goes, it was fine, other than the the sky started off really exceptionally angry. There was a really bad line of storms. I'm trying to find some shade here so I don't get, so I'm not so squinty. Here we go. Anyway, there was a really bad line of storms. In fact, there was power outages and everything when we left. We were watching our cameras on our house back in Ohio because there was like tornado warnings. Alana was streaming the local news because there was one really within like a quarter mile of home. Everything's fine, and the trip otherwise has gone pretty smoothly. So anyway, we're here and we've regathered up. We're a little far here from the bathhouse and bathroom because, you know, we had an RV before, so it didn't matter as much. We had a nice site. We've got a really open sort of private area, and it's just a little bit of a walk for us now that we need the shower house and bathroom. Final thoughts, I think, on all of this. I will tell you, hey, honey.
Hi.
I think we both feel that I've got the mic on this side, so you'll have to speak up.
Sure.
I think
We both feel.
I think we were both spoiled by the bouginess of the camper, even though everything like partially worked. The experience we had in week 1,
it was quite comfortable.
I think we are. I think we are already solidified that we are ready for a transition.
Yes.
Not only because of the RV experience, but it's just handy. Like we're already. It's handier to have the vehicle, like when we're towing Dusty, our Grand Cherokee, behind us. Then we have a car.
Yeah.
We can leave camp completely set up when we're on a location for multiple days. So we were able to go for hikes that were a little away from the campground. Whereas here we're going to have to like tear down the truck. And the truck has been fantastic.
Yes.
We have had many wonderful experiences with the truck, but with me now being able to work remote for extended periods, and as well as a whole bunch of other factors, we have discussed that. Oh my goodness, we have discussed that we do feel, in fact, that this is likely the final voyage
of
Wilma. And so when we get back, we will do a once over of everything, and we're not sure whether we would be looking to sell the truck, just the camper, or what we want to do, because we've loved the truck.
Like her.
Yeah, we still feel like there's a lot of life left in her. But at the end, we've actually done so much that we feel like it'd be really turnkey for a couple or even a single person with a dog or something to go explore the world and really be off remote like we have done so many times. So anyway, there you go. There's our adventure. Now we're here, and we've actually made several videos, but it's been a little tough with working and getting the camper ready and just sort of the pace of things. So hopefully as we can wind down now, slow down a bit in the evenings, I'll be able to do some editing and get, where did we go? We went to Biscayne National Park. I've still got the electrical build where we cannibalize those parts. I actually did a big video, or at least I recorded a bunch of stuff. So we'll see you again with all of that very soon. Thanks for following along, and, you know, give us some thoughts down below. Bye-bye.
Bye.